Um, I've been kind of studying Gary's model, so this is what we're gonna go over, I think, a little bit. Um, and I was just watching on YM here, so we'll go take a look into that. Um, and it was mainly YM and HG, so we'll talk about that. So if we hop into YM here and we take a look, let's go replay this, right? And essentially why I would be thinking of a downside bias on YM. So if we take a look here, I don't know why it's taking so long to load in. It's a bit weird, but taking a look at the 4 hour, right, we have this candle that's closing below the previous, which is a candle 3 slash candle 2 closure slash ideal formation, right? So with that, I actually don't know why it's not showing the daily candle as well, but with that, I would want to see what be respected, zero point 0.5 of this, right? And then generally zero point 0.5 of this whole candle, but because of how it closes, my main focus is there, right? So then taking a look, Garrett's model is, well, part of it in an instance is waiting for this to align with a lower time frame, right? Which maybe we'll just do the 3. Let's see if this works better. I actually don't know why my Wi-Fi is tripping. Well, this is a bit annoying. Might be TV, yours is doing the same. Okay, that makes me feel a little better because I don't think my Wi-Fi is that bad. Anyways, I think I'm with the replay not working. We're just gonna draw it out. But I will use all of these. So I'm putting these all up here for visual reasons because it helps to see. And then I can explain it as well once they load. But the whole thing is we have quite a large wick, right? So if we're going to come back, you want to look near the daily open or around that. Here's right around the daily open. We also have these failure swings over here, which is what caught my eye. I'm not going to switch time frames just because then it has to reload. But like I was saying, the 4 hour, we have that closure, right, through this candle here. So I generally want to see this be respected. It's not super great. It's kind of messy in there, but the whole thing is waiting for my lower time frames to align with that. So if I'm expecting this to be bearish, I'm looking for this wick to form, right? So we come in here. Here is the open of this 4 hour candle, and you can see it's also marked with a faint line. And we just drift up here, right? And then we get our change in the state of delivery right here. And if we go back, I'm just going to replay it to here. Let this load. Man, that's taking a minute. But if we go back here, we have the 9 a.m. open, which is a new hourly candle and a new 30-minute candle. And if we take a look at those here when they appear, and this is making it actually frustrating. But if you're taking a look at this, right, we have the hourly forming that candle to closure, right? And we also have that change in the state of delivery. So now this is aligning bearish with my bearish 4 hour that I'm looking for. And then on our 30-minute here, once it loads, we have this candle 3 closure because we don't close back inside the previous, but then we come back down. I don't know if it's going to load. Wow. Anyways, maybe I'll just draw it out manually. 8:30, 9, 9:30. So if you look, we don't have a candle 2 closure because if you're taking a look here at candle 1, we don't, or this is candle 1 or candle 2. Candle 2 doesn't close back inside the previous bar. However, candle 3 closes below the opening price of that. So we get this. So then now at this point or this closure here, all of these time frames are aligned in one direction, which is bearish, which is then when the expansion occurs. So if you want to get on side with this, you can take your entry on the open or of this next one with my stop on this high that I expect to hold because it has a swing point into previous order block and I don't want to see 50% of this hit. Or you wait for a new swing to form, which we form a new swing in here. Once it starts to trade away or close below this, I would have my stop there if I was going to enter something like that. And there's 2 up. So I don't know why the indicators won't load. I don't know what's going on with TV. It's a bit annoying. There's no error message. It should be fine. I think it's TV. Let me see if I can replay it one more time to hear. I just want to show you the 30-minute candles. That's really it. If it doesn't work, then I'll just go right to the 30-minute. It's something with replay. So here's our 4-hour daily loads. There's the 30. So if you notice with the 30, right, what do we have? We don't have that close back through, right? So it can't be a candle 2 closure. Do we have a candle 3 closure? Yes, because it closes below the opening price here. So now on this candle, I can be looking for candle entries, right, on the 5-minute or the 3-minute, and those are all aligning with my 4-hour candle, right? So then I can expect that expansion. If this is going to expand until when? 10 a.m., right? So then I can hold till here or to around 10, right? So first entry up here, second entry. Once it already takes out these short-term lows down here, these London lows, there's no reason to try to chase it or get in. So that is what I was talking about with YM, right? So we can hold this till 10 because that is when, if this is going to be expansion, right, should form a low around here. Let's see. Hey T, gold had a nice 4-hour long model at 10. Yeah, so I take a look at that, and the main reason, you can take a look at gold right here, gold and silver. And for those of you that struggle with SMT, here's another good thing to talk about, is if you take a look just at previous candles, right? So on this 4-hour, you can see here's this previous low. If we mark out that same previous low here, you see silver takes the low, gold doesn't. So that's that SMT on a lower time frame. So you can use this as, okay, we have a candle 2 closure on silver, so I can be looking to long this. And then if you use the SMT, you can say, oh, well, gold is stronger, so I could be looking to long the 4-hour candle here. So then if we pull up gold, right, and we take a look, it had a very nice little model in here, right? So there was other entries here. There's another entry there. Silver was actually a little bit cleaner within my model. But if we're taking a look at it, this red line here, that's that 4-hour open. So I want to be entering around the opening price or early into that candle generally for expansion. So if we're going back to that 6 a.m., does anything form? Well, we have price open, we trade lower, close over here. So if I'm anticipating this wick 2 form, I can then look to long it, right? And obviously I'd want to have this set to bullish because that's my bias. And if I'm long in here, that can be a short-term target where I don't really want to see a return lower if it goes and expands through these highs, right? So there's the first entries, and that was the second ones, right? So silver, we'll pull up silver because I was watching it a little more actively in here. It's not as clean, right? So that's how you if people have had questions on, "Hey, can I use a candle to closure on one asset to trade the other?" And that's how you would do it because you just use SMT, right? So, yeah, so with Garrett's course, we have most of the content in there. We're editing, refining some stuff, and then most likely it will get released, do a stream over it, and then the video content will come out slightly later. Why the bearish bias in general? For me on YM, it just how it closed like this, right? Like if we take a look, we have a very shallow open. We're trading higher initially, and then now we're just hovering right here. We can't really trade higher while the other indices are going higher. I don't really like longing at highs, so I had no interest in ES or NQ really. Because if we go take a look at ES and NQ, it's just you're at the highs. So then this was the most bearish. And I've just started watching YM again, not for SMT or anything like that, but just kind of as its own asset. So, and then the other example is HG. This one happened way before I was actually up, but we can go take a look. Go right here. Um, but we take a look. We're going to want to mark out that 6 a.m. because 4-hour candle. This one, if we're taking a look at the 4-hour here, we have that candle to closure, right? So if I'm looking to trade within this expansion candle, if I'm looking in this expansion candle, do we have anything? Let's see if it will actually load for us. And we'll see. Okay. It's not loading yet. There it goes. We have that 3-minute, 30-minute model inside that, right? And that's right at the open of that. So if I'm expecting this wick to have formed, that's then the expansion to trade it lower, right? And like I said, if this is going to be an expansion candle, when can you really hold this trade to? About 10, right? If I'm short in here, I can partial out at targets, right? Like lows over here. Runners, if I don't know what's going to happen, I can just set an alarm for 10 and get out then. Because if it's an expansion candle, it closes around or near the lows most of the time. Short CL. I mean, the thing is, yeah, it's an ideal formation. The only thing is it already kind of expanded, right? So if you're looking at there to there, there to there, you can look to trade this. The only thing I mean, if you're very short biased on CL or RB, you can look to see if it closes below here for a continuation. I just am not a fan of trading right after expansion candles. If I was going to do this, I would wait for a price to come up retest, and then I'd look to a lower time frame for a swing point in here to try to get on side. Right, it's a similar thing. But it's less ideal for me because if I just go to the daily chart on these, I view that more as a consolidation. Like it's just not as clear. So, but yeah, I just wanted to hop on and mostly explain HG and then YM because those were the two that I saw. Like I said, I'm learning Garrett's model just by helping him build his course. Um, so it's pretty interesting, right? Because my model is more so, you know, aligning this, right? More of a higher time frame bias aligning this. He's just aligning it with a 4-hour, which can make sense and provides more opportunities, I would say. Um, so, but you can see, is this valid fractal model wise? We have the hourly reaches into fair value gap. We have previous day low resting here. We have that closure. Hit that. Go to the 5-minute. Here we have the change in the state of delivery. And then I can get on side with this, right? So once this closes, I don't expect price to trade back above here. So similar thing to that 3-minute there, where I could enter on the closure, have my stop here or slightly above that, looking for there, right? So you can see just the fractal model works that way, or you can align it with the 4-hour candles. We're trying for early this week for his course. What's the indicator with all the candles on the right? That's just my indicator um, with stuff turned off. So you can see it marks out the closure, the 0.5, the T-spot, the change in state delivery, the projections. So yeah, it just simplifies, or it's just more efficient in a way. You don't need it, but for me, it's nice to be like, oh, there's my hourly. Now I'm looking short from here, and it just marks it all out. Yeah, correlated pair for oil is RB. So if we come back here, and we go back to like the 4-hour here, right? The RB and oil. So that's there, the SMT, right? So on this NQ, let's see. So once again, just a quick example where you can spot SMT on a lower time frame from this higher time frame. So if we're taking a look here on the 4-hour, you can see 2 a.m. Yes takes the high, 2 a.m. NQ doesn't take the high. So we have the SMT there. And then we'll just go to this one so it zooms in a little more. And then we'll pull up that, right? So here we have that. Why you wouldn't care that it gets hit. And then the 30-minute aligns with that, or the 3. Right? So now if you're just trading the fractal model with the hourly, you wouldn't catch this open. So if an asset creates a, the other one doesn't, but there's SMT, as if it is the one. So let me gold, right? And so if we're taking a look here at the 4-hour chart, silver has the candle 2 closure here, right? Same time, right? So the same low. Gold does not. This technically doesn't have a fractal model set up or a candle closure, right, on the 4-hour, but this one does. So what I can do is I can use this framework to say, okay, this is a framework and why I'm looking to long silver. However, if I look at the correlated pair, which is gold, which one is stronger? Gold is stronger, so then I can look to take the setup on gold using silver, right? It's a little bit more complex. So does that make sense? If this, let's see. If daily NQ closed bearish today, we can consider a candle 2 closure for sells. Well, let's take a look at what the daily is doing. Yeah, so the main thing you can look for is if you're expecting a retracement, which we do have 3 days of extension. I think I talked about this yesterday, but if we're expecting retracement, we'd wanna see that Monday/Tuesday, right? And if we close back inside the range, that is where we could look for that tomorrow back into these lows, right? So Friday low. We go to the hour here, right? And all that is looking for is we form a reversal outside this range. Where are we likely to reach if we're going to continue lower? To the other side of the range, right? I don't think you can use it in Top Step X because Top Step X is its own platform. Um, it's not like actually trading view, if that makes sense. All right, I'm gonna switch my screen real quick because it is. Let's see if that actually switches or not. Pause the recording until it switches. Give it a second. Yeah, I'm recording this one. I don't know why my OBS is being super weird. See if I can switch over. Oh, of course, right when it goes, I click the button. All right, I'm just gonna give it a second. All right, apparently. Yeah, there it goes. I don't know why it takes so long, but yeah. Any quick questions on that? I don't know. Someone asked a question about it, so I figured I would just stream it because it's easier than typing it out for me. Quick question on your protocol when SMT is seen on both the highs and the lows. I mean, unless you have an actual bias or something, then it's just a bit confusing. That's why I would say stop trying to use SMT as your setup. Like, stop trying to make setups form from SMT. Find a setup, then use SMT to confirm it. Otherwise, you're going to just be searching for SMTs all the time and lose track of what's actually going on. But yeah, if there's no other questions, I'll probably end the stream there. It's just a quick pop-up stream. I don't know why TradingView is being so slow today. It's a bit weird. Yeah, I mean, it is Garrett's course, so he'll probably be the one that answers more questions, but I obviously understand enough of it to help out as well. But yeah. All right, we just got new 4-hour candles on everything. So, yeah, I think we'll end the stream there. I'll just maybe throw this. I don't know where I'll throw it in the WAP, but I'll get it up. So if you missed it or you want to rewatch it. wasn't super smooth with the trading view, just not loading stuff. But I'll see you guys all later at EU. We'll take a look at EU real quick. I mean, it's bullish. The only thing is this is your short-term high. Like that's one of your targets, which is like the candle two, which is a little bit weird. So I don't really like this structure in here. Like it is just a bit messy, right? Like my favorite structure is just that, right? And if you look here, we have that down. Sure, you can have the little up move, but it's just a little bit weird, right? So I don't know. I don't really watch EU, so I don't really know how it trades too much, but like if it leaves, I don't know if it likes to leave bottom whips like this and it just sends. Cool. But it just opens. Like I don't know. If I was gonna trade this, how I'd have to trade it is I would just long the open of this next candle, my stop here, if this is what I believed. And then once it traded through these highs, I would just put my stop break even. Like it's not a very, like that's a very discretionary because you're trying to trade a breakout in my eyes. So I don't know. What keyboard? Voice is gone. What do you mean? Can't hear me anymore? Oh. Would you trade this C3 lower? I don't. Oh, 1 hour. I'm not a fan of trading the 1 hour when it has a massive expansion. For instance, I'll go here. Like, yeah, it can work. I'm just not a fan of trading after large expansion candles. Like, even though I'll miss continuation moves, how many times does it save me from missing something that just comes back in? So if I am going to trade that, it's like I have to be a little more, I don't know the word, sneaky with my entries in here, right? So it's like, okay, if I'm trying to get in a continuation, I don't like entering once we've already taken out the previous candle's low. So it's like if I'm trying to enter in here, similar to this like kind of EU one, is I'm almost entering the open, expecting this to hold, right? Or see, I don't even think I would really expect it to hold unless, give me one sec. Yeah, it's a bit sketchy. I would take it on ES. So I would have been doing this is entering the open. Here it's like, it's kind of how I would trade it if I wanted to get in it. Which I'm not, but oh, it already hit it. Yeah. The only thing is then zoom out a little. Yeah, we have the lows. But that's the only way I would trade it is we have the 5 minute opened up, and this is one where you already have a protected swing at the open. So this is where it makes sense to use a positional entry. Now the reason I would use my stop loss here is normally if these are going to go, they're just going to go. If I put it here, now it's like I need quite a larger take profit. I don't know. It depends on what you like. But yeah, that's like how I would have traded it is I look at these 2 assets and I'm like, "Okay, which one's stronger or weaker?" Well, on this lower time frame here, this high is already protected going in. So it's like, okay, if I enter in here or anywhere in here, I have a protected high. Where if we're gonna trade lower. Here I don't, and that's why I was saying it's a bit sketchy because I'm just anticipating that to become a protected high. It does, but we're also near the lows. So it's like, what are you doing? A little curious on what Euro did. Yeah. See, it's a bit consolidating. So order flow seem bullish today. Yeah, so we can go over that. This part's not even being recorded anymore because I turned off my recording because I thought I was done. But we'll go day. So the reason why it's sketchy for me to try to trade this long, for me, is we look at the previous 3 days. We already have 3 days of basically expansion. Yes, this doesn't look like an expansion candle, but that's because we have NFP making the lower wick. So really when you view it as expansion, it's from here all the way up to there, right? So you look here all the way up to there. So with that expansion, I can expect a new phase of high price delivery, or I can just miss a move, right? But then we look how we actually traded this today. There's just it's really hard for me to trust a like this is very consolidation, right? And this isn't a very convincing move higher, right? And then we just break out of the range, right, in London, and we fall back in, right? Feel like we're closing back inside the range. So looking at that, and then you also pair it when we have this little SMT on the high, right? There's just really no established low that I trust in here. So you'll hear me say that a lot is I'm trying to find a low that I trust to form this higher time frame wick. Going into the market in the morning, there's just nothing I really trust, right? So I was bullish on indices, but there's just nothing for me to do because there's nothing I trust in here. So that's why I was looking at YM because this is how I always view it is I can't hit T and go to text. It's always YM, ES, and Q is what I've found in my experience. So it's usually if YM is more bullish or ES, it's really like this. If NQ is more bullish, ES is kind of like this, and then YM is either like more flat or just kind of doing the opposite. And it goes the other way around. So it's like right, ES is kind of in the middle doing its thing. So if we take a look at the three of them, I'll show you what I mean. Maybe I should restart the recording. Is if we take a look, we have ES, NQ, YM. We'll take a look at their 4-hour candles, right? And so I take a look, and going in, I see NQ is more bullish than ES, right? That's what it shows me, just kind of the strength out of here on the 4-hour. Like you can look at this individual candle, right? So I see NQ is very bullish, right? ES is kind of that more less bullish, and then YM is weaker, right? So I view it like that, and I say, okay, so if we are truly bullish, then NQ is just going to break out, and I'm going to miss it, right? Because I'm not longing over the highs of the day, right? That's not something I really do, and after 3 days of expansion. So if there's another way I want to frame it where, maybe it comes back into the range or a retracement, right? Where would I want to be looking? Do I want to look on NQ? Yes. Well, I could use YM almost as its separate asset, but also look at the daily closure, right? It's also fitting to look for this day to go lower and how it traded off the day. It opened, immediately went higher, left previous day low, right? It's a low hanging fruit right here. So that's why I went and looked at the 4-hour on YM. Just because there's nothing I can trust long on indices. Does that make sense? Why not trust the low we're forming now? I'm just not very I'm not very good at trading later into the day. So, like, if we're going to look here, like, if you think we're forming a low here, cool, but that 1, I can't even look for that until 11, right? Like, I'm not gonna look at that until 11 normally, right? So with that, then I'm kind of reaching into the point where I'm good at trading, like 8 to 11 or even 6 to 11. That's when I'm good at trading. I'm not very good at trading after that, so I just rarely look. Because why do something I'm not that good at? And also, if you look at how the daily profile is formed, like, sure, we could form this, but do I want to trade that back into the range? You can. It's just I would prefer to trade something that's just expanding. Like, this is kind of a guessing game for me. Prior to 9 AM, it looks like hit the OB and we were taking buy side. Yeah. I mean, prior to 9 AM. Yeah, I mean, we formed a little low. That if you're talking about this low, yeah, we formed that low there and there, which then we make a higher high here, lower high there. So that, yeah, that's the SMT that was the clue. You know, you guys have to realize, like, I don't know what's going on a lot of the time. Like, people think, "Oh, I know a lot about the markets." Yeah, I do, but there's times where I have 0 idea what is going on. I just don't put any risk on. Like, that's the difference is when I don't know what's going on, I just go do something else, which is normally we'll hop into YM here, and it will give us on the 15-minute chart. Here's where I generally know what's going on. Sure, on the higher time frames, I can get the overnight session. Where am I actually good at trading? 8 to 10:30, 11. There. I'm good at trading this window of price. Sometimes will give me a little more. Sometimes I can do this. Cool. There we go. Right. I can trade this window, but I'm just good at trading this window of price. So when I look in here and I see that price already expanded in my window, why am I going to try to catch something because I missed something to catch a move or make up or something, right? Like that's where I'm just going to get in a loss. So it's either I catch something in my window of price or I don't. You know, similar thing here. Where do I think it's going? I think it's going to trade back into the range, right? Because look at this. This is how I view it. We've taken highs and then we've taken the lows. Where do I think it goes? Back to the daily open. Because if this price isn't going to expand in one direction, it's just going to hang around the daily open or the middle of the range, right? Do I know what's going to happen? No. So why would I try to put risk on this? Personally, I don't. Could I if I wanted to? Let's even see if there's anything that sets up. No, there's just really nothing for me. And there's no closures. So it's like the way I view it is I don't catch these reversals. Why? Well, my whole model is trading continuations because I found that reversals like this is where I took losses because what would happen? Oh, I made a new low, made a new low. Oh, then it goes. So like, do I want to stop out here, here, or do I just wait and then get my entry there? Right? Well, at that point, if I'm already back into the range here and my whole thing is trading back to the daily open or into the middle of the range, my continuation entry is like at my target. It just doesn't make sense. Could we just go all the way back to the highs? Sure. And that's normally what happens if we have a range like this. You go watch my broadening formation video. It's where am I looking for this? This side, there. I have like 3 targets. It's like the middle of the range, the OTE, other side. But I don't know what's gonna happen. Yeah, I'm not confident in that. Like I was saying, the only move that really caught my eye today was YM and gold. So, that's why I'm not interested in trying to long this, because I would maybe lose money. DXY was pushing higher, VIX was more in a fear state, rates are. Yeah, I don't use all of that. Um, it's great if you do. I just find that if I'm looking at the dollar, which if you look at the correlation with indices lately in the past year or 2, it's just not been that great. Via the VIX, like, yeah, volatility, which can be used, right? But also the VIX on a higher time frame right now is telling us that it's bullish, which I can just look on the chart and say that. Um, but the whole reason I don't use dollar via VIX, fear state rates, all of that is like if I'm trading that little window of price I was talking about, this candle here, and I have to watch 6 other things to get into this trade, I'm likely not getting into the trade. So it's like for me, if I have to watch too many things, I'm not going to trade it. Yeah, I almost never do body SMT. Um, Stat map is a point of interest for swings. I don't use it for me. I mean, you can use it. Like, you gotta test stuff. Just because I don't use something doesn't mean it won't work for you. It's just I don't use it. So, all right, I was supposed to already be done with the stream like 20 minutes ago. We got a few more questions, so hopefully that made sense. Did you find the backtesting recording from the other day? What backtesting recording? Oh, I made a new one that was I just talked about it in the last stream. I just talked about how to go over it. I think that was last week, Thursday. Yeah, I'm almost done moving into my office. I spent a lot of yesterday putting up audio panels. I have I put up how many so far? I put up 15. I have 10 more left. Then I have all my audio panels up. Then I gotta get a rug and bookshelves and stuff, and then like organize stuff. Like the whole reason my mic was cutting off or popping is my audio wire was right over a power wire. So it's like I gotta organize stuff and cable manage. I'm not getting a mini fridge. My my kitchen is like a slight walk away. Yeah, I can do a quick lesson to put in tea lessons. But yeah, I'll be more active. Yeah, once I get the office finished, I'll send pictures. It looks like crap right now. I have I have one wall full of audio panels, one wall that is missing one extra panel, and then one that's not done at all. And then I still need to get a rug and stuff, and I'm gonna get some lights. Yeah, quite a bit. Are we trading today as Monday protocol? You can, just because I know AM was going into it. Well, I'm gonna go back to 2 here. AM was treating it as I don't know, maybe he did short this, we'll see. He was treating Monday, right, as basically the high and low of the week, so just as a range. So I know he was just looking for that as a relevant level for reversals to form. So if he did catch this reversal, he would have traded it to the other side and then likely holding runners. We'll find out. which I know I'm going over to his place to work on some stuff anyways after someone comes and fixes my AC. So we'll find out then. But this is what I mean is what did I think was gonna happen, right? I was saying, "Oh, we could go back into the range." What happened? Not that. Do I wanna lose money on that? No. I'm gonna be wrong. Does your indicator show the candle overlays? Example, 15-minute candle while the 3 5-minute candles go through and highlights the middle. No, mine doesn't do that. There's indicators out there that do that. Mine, mainly focuses on let's show you on here, for example. This I have multiple set up, but mine just marks out my fractal model. So here's the 3-minute model. And in something like this, um, I generally don't like to trust something like that. It's a little weird to me. So then this is like one of the only scenarios where I'll drop down to a lower time frame here, which we can see what that looks like. Let's see. All right. We're in the 1 minute. We have the overlay of the 3-minute. Oh, I missed it. That'd be the entry. Or let's see if there's a continuation. Oh, you know, let's see. There's a slight opportunity it would give a continuation here. Most likely not catching that. Let's see. This would be the high risk continuation opportunity, which is AKA you size and extremely small. It looks like it runs you out. Yeah. And then this is the one that's actually confirmed. There or there. 370. If you're trying to trade the continuation. Yeah. So see what I mean? It's a lot easier to just trade the continuation. And fair lacking the waiting for the higher time frame open. So there's a quick example of if you try to pick the high, you normally get stopped out. It's a lot higher hit rate to just let this high form, confirm it, then trade it. And this is an example of one where we're on the 1 minute, which I'm not a huge fan of, but when we close like this is a protected high right at the open of that new higher time frame candle. So that's one where, you can enter right at the open with your stop where I had it. And then it goes right to it, which going back to the 3-minute. Yeah. See, if you sit on a slightly higher time frame, if you're trying to catch this continuation, is there a candle 2 closure? No. Is there no? Is there a yes? And you're going to get that same entry, just not getting stopped out. So hopefully a good little exercise to show you that going lower doesn't mean you're going to get a better entry or get into the move. Like I find the 3-minute the best for that type of thing. So let's see. That would be the second opportunity. Oh, nice. 50% win rate. A few boxes on the ground. Hey, I've actually cleaned up my office quite a bit. I have no boxes in my office. So is there anything else in my office? No, it's it's completely blank now though. You have to verify. Yeah, I mean, Feel free. I need to go eat some breakfast here soon. Honestly, what are you guys' thoughts? I might start doing some more of these like morning streams now that I'm back in my home and desk. No, we actually need to go kill those raccoons in my attic. You see the video I sent you this morning? It's crazy. The indicator you can find in here. Oh, you responded. I haven't been on my phone. Let me look. Yeah, I'm not normally on my phone when I'm doing stuff. It's always so interesting, these continuations. Because if we're gonna fall, this is gonna form the high, and it's just gonna die. Because, let me explain. We have price reaching back into this imbalance, sweeping it out, closing through. I'm expecting 50% of this to hold. We go up into that 50%, we form a closure. So that's when I want to see this next candle be an expansion, right? So I don't want to see it expand lower. So that's why I was saying it's interesting because there's two ways this turns out. It's either a consolidation or this is going to be a little high that just dumps price. So we'll see. That's a hilarious photo. But yeah, you can see we had that first scenario where it just does dump it. So that would be something if I was going to try it. What would I do? It would be that candle 2 closure entry, right? Or if you want to give yourself a little room, you go above the EQ for it to sweep once, but I prefer to just get stopped out and then we can re-enter. If I was going to try to trade that. One thing I'll talk about, guys, is if you're trying to take riskier entries like this or something that might get stopped out really quick, like I was showing in the quick example earlier, is like I want to size a lot smaller for that because I'm expecting to take more stop losses, right? So if I'm normally risking, let's say, I'll just use percentage 1%, right? And I'm taking entries like this, I generally like to go down to like 0.25%, or like a lot less because I can take 1, 2, 3 entries, then get on side, and then you get pretty high risk to reward, right? So if I'm holding something like this, right? I'm already at 3R in 2 minutes or 6 minutes, whatever that is. So quick little lesson there. What are the 4 time frames you have? This is daily, 4 hour, 1 hour, 30, right? So the whole thing here, why this one made sense is we immediately go lower first, right? Which is not what you want to see. We come back, revisit to form this wick. Then we have that intra-candle change in the state delivery, right? So you can see we're not expecting this high to be taken. So then when we retrace back up into the range, do we respect 0.5 of that? We do, right? Not perfect, but we do. And then this is what I just walked you through somewhat live, right? And all I'm focusing on is within these timeframes here, I just want to let these wicks form, right? And so that's that. Because if I'm trying to get in before these wicks form, I'm not gonna, I'm either gonna sit in consolidation or drawdown because that's not when expansion occurs. GU gave a clean move. We can take a look at GU. I'm gonna look at one thing real quick on my side screen. Yeah, just as I expected. But okay, see, now we get a new open on the 30, right? So all your mindset is if this is gonna be a continued expansion, which now I just don't know because we've had 3 candles of expansion. 1, 2, 3, right? Really, if this is gonna continue, I'd see it going till 11, so maybe we have 30 more minutes, just because then we have this candle closing, and it has a small wick, so I would expect it to close near the lows. My whole thought process would be, where can I frame a protected high? At this point, I would not look to enter something. This would be like the last little opportunity. It's pretty late into the move anyways. How do you decide on which to look for a trade? So I used to be almost only hourly 5, and then I've slightly adjusted to not really caring if it's hourly or 5 or 30 or 3. It's more so just the logic of the wicks and if the highs or lows should hold, right? So that's why I've been looking at the 4-hour and the daily. It's like if I'm expecting these wicks to hold right here and this to expand lower, I don't really care what I use to get an entry in here or in here. I just want to get on side, and then I use the lower time frames fractal model to align with that. So it's like on that YM example earlier, either worked. They both got you in at almost the same spot. Would this have been a valid 1 minute? Yeah, that's a valid entry. The only reason I wasn't a huge fan of it when we were talking about it is this didn't reach into a fair value gap or sweep out. Really, like I'd prefer to sweep out that high, right? This high here for me to trust it. So that's why when I took a look at it, I looked at ES. And if we take a look at how ES formed as a protected swing at the open, right? So then I would feel better taking this. And in the example, I put my stop there because that was what makes sense to me in 2R, right? Does it come in retest? Sure. And so we do get a continuation of this trend as long as these respect. Um, but like I said, it's a bit through the move in my mind. And yeah, I a lot of times miss those super large range days because I'm more conservative on how I approach getting into those. But it's a valid trade. Why was ES protected and not in Q? We'll take a look at this on the open, right? At the opening of this candle here, in Q's right here, do we have a protected swing? Have we closed through this level? We haven't yet, right? So technically, entering here, where is my protected swing? We don't really have one until up here. So that's why I said, oh, if I was going to enter here, I'd have to be more sneaky with it and anticipate this forming a protected swing. Versus when I looked over at ES, I can view this as, oh, we retch back up into the range here. We've closed below there. Now we have a protected swing going into the open. So if I take this, it makes more sense to me than this, right? Yeah. Sweet. Alrighty. Well, that was a bit. I'm actually kind of glad I didn't hop off. That was fun. But I think we are done now. Hopefully you see that if you want to get a continuation, you don't need the 1 minute. The 3 minute is ideal in my mind because the 1 minute can give you a lot of these fake little entries, right? Kind of like the one I showed there, where you get stopped out before then this one provides it, or just waiting for the higher time frame opens, right? And you see how clean this one was on the 3 minute versus on here. It's just looks choppy, right? So now we have a nice little SMT at the lows. Does it hold or does it go? Well, we need a change in the state of delivery to tell us that question, and I don't think I'm going to stay on that long to find out. So, was looking at GU, but we did not get a retest on the 10-hour candle open. Well, let's go take a look at GU real quick before I hop off. GBP USD. Take a quick look at the higher time frames to see what's going on. Okay. It's quite the SMT there. Okay, ideal formation. Sick. There. So you could be looking to trade the 9 or the 10 a.m. candle long. For the 10. Or yeah, 4x is 9, my bad. So we can use either of those, and then we will click this button, go down to the 3-minute, and here is our 4-hour open. And we just want to see what forms there. Real quick, we'll take a look at the 5-minute. I mean, yeah, I don't know if you're gonna get cleaner than that. What were you looking for? A retest of the 10 a.m. open? Why 10 a.m. open? Oh, it did though. The M5OB? Oh, you wanted that entry. Gotcha. So your limit was there. Yeah, I don't know, I just prefer not to use limits. So, like for me, if I'm gonna enter this on the 5, it's more so like I was saying the logic of, okay, I'm just letting this wick form, right? So once I see us open right here, we've already retest, swept out this low to the left, and then closed over here. I don't expect this low to hold or to go. So then I'm looking for this area to respect. Make that a little darker, right? So any entry in here with my stop below the lows, fine. Or wait for that continuation and then order block. I don't really like this entry because we've just swept out this high and, well, not swept out that high, but I don't know. I just don't like how wide the stop loss is. I prefer taking something like this. I don't know. I'm a big believer in, I like to be entering like this. Let's see. Let me redraw. I'm trying to think of how I want to draw it. We'll do it like this. I'm a big believer in, I want to be entering like when price is already trading in that direction. So if I'm trying to enter long in here, I just want to be entering while price is already going long, right? I'm not a huge fan of, hey, I want to take an entry here and setting a limit to then catch it. Because now what am I doing is I'm catching price when it's falling, anticipating it to hold, and most of my losses came from that. So it's like for me, my mindset is, okay, if I'm already trying to get long here, why don't I just let this low form? Okay, the low forms. Now I can trade it while it's already going that way, put my stop on that low. You know what I mean? So going back to this example here, it's not super clean, but let's say you were looking for this low to form. Instead of putting my limit there, I just let my low form. So like, let's say it goes like that, or I can go to a lower time frame. Okay, it reaches back into here, closes through. Now instead of catching the low in here, I can just enter while it's starting to trade away, right? Like that's my whole thought process behind my model. Because I found that most of my losses come from, hey, I want to long this lower high or the higher low, and then it would die. Like for me, I was like, okay, well, why don't I just let this form and then I'll just trade the continuation following it, right? So 3 to 5 minute, and I just look and say, okay, what makes sense? So, which on the 3 minute, it's rather clean, right? Because now you can say there, 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 right? All right. Nice. So the little SMT did work. Cool. quick example, which one is the stronger asset? Which one is the weaker? Well, we just take a look at the SMT and you just look at the formations in here. This one is expanding higher. This one's not. Do I know what's going on? No, I don't know anymore. There's little glimpses like that. That's a little glimpse of where I know where price is going for like 3 candles. No, I don't know what's going on. Yeah, that's fair to wait for that. How do you set up the 4 higher time frames? All right, well, let's walk through that real quick, and I'll actually hop off. So I'm just gonna remove them all from my screen so we can I'll just show you how. So I use power 3 indicator for this first one, right? So you can use the free one. You don't need the paid one. So maybe I'll just do in PO3 and do the free one. Higher time from power 3. There's the free one. Cool. What I do is I turn off everything, right? Because I don't want to see it. Adjust my colors. And I think I offset this to like 30 or something. I don't remember the numbers. I just mess with it. I mean, it's probably more than that. It's like probably like 45. Okay. So now is my daily. I don't want that box. I don't know how to turn that off. Wait, how do I turn that off? Maybe it's under here. Ah, there we go. Table is off. It's a little bit different on the free one, but there. Then I just come in here, add my model, right? When it loads in, now I want this on the 4 hour. Yo, that is not mine. What am I doing? Did I not click that one? There it is. That was weird. Wait, did I click a different one or am I tripping? Anyways, I don't want this to show anything really, so I just turn off all of these. I'm gonna turn it to not automatic, but instead 4 hour 15. So then it's gonna show the 4 hour candles, right? I don't care to have my lower time frame EQ, but I want to see the higher time frame one. So I'll just come in here to EQ, higher time frame candle. That's all I want it. I do want to see the open because the 4 hour open is important to me, but it's a bit much like that. So I then put it to like maybe 20% or something. Yeah, 20% seems chill. Maybe a little less. Cool. Right. And then I do want to keep the vertical lines because that helps me separate price in my head. So there, then I don't care to see any of these and no projections, nothing. I just turn everything off. Right. I don't even need that. Cool. There's my 4 hour one. Now where do I need it? I want it over here. So I'm going to offset that. Did the other one 40. So I'll see what 30 looks like. Not bad. Not bad at all. Then what I can do is just I'll right click, copy, paste it. I have 2 of them on there. And then on this one, I could move to the hourly 5 minute. I want to offset it, switch that to like 20 or something. I need it more. So then I would go 15. Yeah, that's better. Right. So now I have my daily 4 hour hourly. This one, I got to decide if I want the lower time frames. And this is what I did actually is I wanted to differentiate between the hourly and the 4 hour open. So I went back to this one. And with the vertical lines, I changed this to red, something like that. And then see how it makes it red so I can differentiate that. And then if I wanted the 3 minute, this is when I normally would add one more. This one I don't need to offset at all. And I think I turned the higher time frame open off. And then this one would have all my stuff actually on it. So then I want to change it to my 30-minute, which would be the lower time frame, and then chart. Or you can do 3-minute. Doesn't really matter. That's fine. I don't have that. I like Wix. I don't want the labels. And I don't even care to show that currently. So there we go. Now we have, you can see it's a bit off. Maybe I would move this one over one. Yeah, I don't know. You have to see it. But now you have your daily 4 hour, and your 5 or your 3-minute and 30. And then what this will do will it'll mark out your setup, right? So then you can see the 30-minute setup right inside the higher time frame. So basically I only want the lower time frame ones. So then how I have it saved is I have it saved to where I have a 3-minute one. So this will be 4 hour daily 30. And then this is my 3-minute setups, right? And it shows my current one. Or I have my 5-minute, which is then daily 4 hour, hourly 5. So you can see, right? Or this little X button, that's all of them. And then it's just that. So I can just go between them. Oh, and then what you do to save that is you just come up here to indicator templates, save indicator template, and then name it what you want. But yeah, that's how I think you don't really need it, right? Like if you go to the 4 hour and you're like, okay, here's the 4 hour open. I know it's there. 30. We have the 5. You can do it all manually. You don't need it. I just find also like maybe I'm lazy. It just makes it easy. Like I just don't have to go anywhere. Or if I'm teaching, right? So like when I was showing you the YM example, right? This one. Let's go back. Yeah, here. And then we click on my 3 button, right? Which I sent. This should be a candle 3 closure, but right. I can then see it all here. So I'm like, okay, I know the daily, if this is the upper wick, or even if we're just going to go back to the daily open, here's my 4 hour open, which I want to see because if I'm visualizing open or trading higher above this opening price, go below it, retest, right? Expanding lower. And where did I say this would continue to? 10 a.m., right? So remember earlier in my stream when I was saying, hey, I could just hold this until 10 a.m. Look where you would have exited. 10 a.m. if you're in this short from anywhere, right? And what happens? It's like almost the low, right? So just your understanding of timing. So dev tripping. I clicked on the wrong one. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, maybe I'm lazy. Maybe it's smart. I don't know. I don't really care. It works. So real quick, we're gonna look at this one because someone was talking about it. RB. And we'll click on the little X. It's just more consolidation than anything. The only thing I saw on my side screen was if we are going to continue lower, I'd want to see this be the wick of the higher time frame candle. So then with closing below this, if we respect 0.5 of that to trade lower, I would just wait for 11 a.m. because that's when we get these new higher time frame candles or the hourly 30-minute. And then that's when your expansion candles can align. Because if this is going to be an expansion candle lower, you want to align it with the lower time frame ones, right? So like this is what I was saying earlier, where it makes no sense to enter these now, right? Can it go? Sure. But within my strategy, it just makes more sense to wait because this isn't an expansion candle. I'm just waiting to align my fractal model with it. Yeah, you can do it with Forex as well. So like if we go to Euro, let's go to something random that I haven't looked at. Euro JPY. Take a look at the 4-hour chart. Okay, perfect. Actually, we we could have traded this one. So let's say you were a London trader, right? We sweep this out. We have a candle 2 closure. So looking to trade this. Let's see if we can do it. Then I can click the little X button. Wow, this looks not super fun. But if I'm going to trade this the other way, here's a new higher time frame candle. Let's see if should we do it on a 5 minute or 3 minute? 5 minute or 3 minute? We'll see what the 5 does. Right, so if you think that's just going to expand lower there, have my stop there, holding for equal lows. Let's see. Oh, nice. Almost stopped us out. But hopefully that made sense. A bit of waiting there, but I just expected this wick to form. But yeah, it works on anything. That's actually a bit sketchy. Kind of funny. So, but you can see it gets to be a bit much if you don't, or if you're not actively searching for something. That's why I have certain indicators where if I'm actually just watching something, I'm gonna just have the daily candles up or nothing up. Because if not, it becomes too much for my brain. So, of course, it starts to do it a bit early. Lame. Oh well. The thought process is still there of this forming the 4 hour wick, which is the main thing I'm trying to teach. Let's see. Yeah, nothing else on my side screen besides it's very interesting. All right. We good now? Yo. All right there. Any other questions? I'm gonna actually hop off, I think now, go eat some breakfast. Gotta run to the store. I'll end the stream there. Yeah, I mean I can't say they'll be daily because it just depends on my actual schedule. So and what I'm doing. But I can try to do some when I can. Or get some more. I think Garrett wants to do some. Garrett wants to do some. We'll see. Yeah, this is gonna be lame if it just sends. Lame. But the main thing I just wanted to show here is like if you actually understand the higher time frame openings, that's why this makes sense to be a high and not that one or that one or that one. Right? Like you don't have to really guess as much. You just wait. You say, oh, here's the 10 a.m. Does that make sense? Yeah, but this change in the state of delivery doesn't really work. And this is also why, yeah, maybe I missed this move, right? Maybe it just sends. But if I follow the same process and if I would have just entered on this change in the state of delivery, it's like, let's say this one would have taken the high and then did that. It's like you would have lost this trade, right? So it saves you. You miss moves. Shit happens. What indices do you trade? My main focus is ES and NQ. But we'll see. Now that I'm back home, I have more screens. So I'm gonna probably watch some more things. Yeah, I will. I haven't traded this week. I was gonna take the YM trade, but I was a tad bit late. I was I went for my morning walk, and then I saw that one right in here, and I was like, I just didn't like it as much. Like I prefer to be up in here or right in here. So yeah, I could have taken it. Yeah, it would have worked, but I don't know. I'm more specific on how I like my entries on that. So like if this would have closed, the sad thing is I think I likely would have taken it if this closed slightly a little higher. I also just haven't traded YM. Like I think the last time I traded YM was, let's see. It's got to be like 16 months ago or something. I'd have to go into my brokerage and see. But it is what it is. Hopefully you learned something. The main thing I'm trying to teach here is just focus on when the wicks form. Once the wicks form, once the wicks form, trading becomes a lot easier. So yeah, I mean that's a valid entry. Yeah. So when you close here, right? You could take this entry here. It's just with this, your stop has to be a bit lower if you're going to try to trade this, right? Like that just doesn't make sense. And this is your first target, right? So with that, could you trade in here? Sure. It's just, is that equal lows? Yeah. If it didn't form equal lows, then you could trade that long. Like if it would have just swept the low, then that makes sense. But that's like just trying to search for something. I don't know. It's not the cleanest structure. Um, I'd say 75% of the stream got recorded. I got most of it, but I missed a bit of it. I'm in on a trade 6E, 1 hour to 5 minute C2 closure after taking. I think we actually just went over that. You're on 6E, so we'll go to 6E. It's a bit more gappy, but euro. Let's go to the daily. I want to take a look at something here real quick. Euro GBP. Euro GBP bearish to the lows. So the only thing I would say here is, do you know how to use Euro GBP? You don't? Okay, I'll teach you this real quick. So if you're looking to trade euro or the pound, right? We can take a look at euro versus the pound because this will show us if what is stronger or what is weaker. Wait. Okay, there we go. So if this is going down, it means that euro is weaker, right? And pound is stronger. If this is going up, it means euro is stronger, pound is weaker. So we look right here on this day, and we're trading into this low. So if it's going down or we're expecting this to be bearish, that means that euro is weaker, pound is stronger. So I would normally look to trade the pound over the euro here. Let's pull up both. So we'll go 6E, 6B. Right? If we just take a look at our daily, you see which one is stronger, right? We can see the pound is stronger because of just looking at the other chart. So with that, right, that's where I would then normally go look to trade the pound. But your setup here, is it valid? We sweep out a low to the left. Yep. We have a candle 2 closure. Yep. So then going to the 5 minute and marking it up, right? We have the change in the state of delivery, so that's our confirmation. So then looking, we can mark out zero point 0.5 of this previous candle, right? We mark that out. We can take a look in here. Do we have a protected low? Going into this trade, we already expect this low to hold, right? Because looking, respects there. Once we close over here, we now have a continuation. So then we expect this low to hold. So really going into this trade, I could long the open of this with my stop in here and expect that to hold, right? And then I can look to trade it to the high, right? Or these highs, or really just any entry in here. So it looks like you did the retest of it, which is great. That works. That's sweet, right? Or you can also use, okay, we have a retest, close through here. There's another valid entry, open in the next one, stop there, or below the bodies or the breaker, run to the highs, right? Either way, that's a very solid framework and a great trade. So yeah, I mean, either works. You can mark it on this, on the close or on the retest. Either works. Either way, you got in, so works. And then, I mean, you want to focus on session highs and lows for those first targets. So there you go. So like this is where I would be out almost all my position if I was in a trade like this. So, and your trade would be there too, there, 3.78, or if you put your stop on the low, 2.27, right? Which, yeah, you use the very low. So yeah, that's a very solid trade. You have the whole recording? Yeah, I think maybe the whole recording is better so I don't have to go put it all together. And the AC guys here. So I'll see you guys.